have scaled that down to 6. And those are noted here. October 1st, traditional Wednesday, the first Wednesday of the month, October 1st, November 5th, February 4th, March 4th, April 1st, and May 6th. High school graduation tentatively scheduled for Friday, June 5th. Again, we need to remember that seniors cannot be released more than 12 days before the end of the school year. And we've kept the conference days. There are early dismissal days at the middle and elementary school for various conference periods, and then at the high school, some early release days for exam periods. You can see the times down in the lower left-hand corner. Again, the times, we're making a switch between the early and late schools. Traditionally, we have the batch is on one tier of the bus runs, and then the little school and the hood school on the other tier. And this is, again, purely, we have 10 buses. The batch is the largest of the elementary schools, so we can pair the hood and little, although I will tell you we're on the brink. And I would expect to come back next year looking for another bus.
Because of paid riders?
No, because of just trying to get all the runs in and the number total. The students who pay because of the limitation, they're paying, they would not receive service, so their funding.
Yeah, it's self-supporting.
Yeah, self-supporting. So I don't know if the committee has any questions. I did include the other sheet on some of the schools' start and ending times, and it's interesting. Right after Mrs. Davis made her report, there seems to be a resurgence in interest in looking at a later start for high schools. This is coming from superintendents across the state. So I believe that there may be some discussion about this topic at the annual Summer Superintendent's Institute. And there may be a push to try to get kind of a uniform agreement across the state. I've also included here.
Want me to bring my PowerPoint presentation
Yes.
for you?
Well, I've actually shared that through the listserv. The last page of the handout includes the current starting and ending times for some of the Cape Ann League high schools. You can see that the latest time is Linfield at 8 o'clock, and the earliest time is 7:15 in North Andover.
Oh, that's just ugly.
Okay. So I'm not here tonight to make a proposal, but I wanted the committee to see some of the discussions and some of the iterations. Unfortunately, most of these options don't work because there are certain parameters with the 10 buses.
Right.
That is, you need a minimum of 25 minutes in between the runs, unless we're willing to increase.
Well, and then don't you usually need a 35-minute in between the elementary runs and the secondary runs?
That's not in the current schedule.
No.
Isn't it? Yeah, it is. They have middle school's at 7:55 and the early elementary's 8:30. So that's 35 minutes.
That's, I think that's to keep the necessary time between
Yeah.
pickups.
Yeah.
Which is only 29
Because
minutes.
the elementary day is is shorter.
Right.
So you need to keep that time, in between the middle and it's the pickup time that is the issue.
I do think one thing that, if we're going to bring this to the public, which I think we should at some point, one, if these don't work, then obviously we shouldn't present them as options. But I think one option we should seriously consider is the joint busing of middle and high school students.
Yeah.
Because that way, you know, you have kids, you have the schools that are,
Have to have buses to do that.
would we have to have buses, David, to do that, do you think?
Yes, because the middle school uses
The
all
middle
their
school uses
buses.
10 buses.
Oh, they use all 10. Oh, okay. Oh, well. Perhaps I'd
But
have
if
these
you
we're
know,
two
adding
if
buses.
them anyway.
if we added, yeah, if we
If
added.
we're gonna add 'em anyway.
That money anyway, then maybe we could
Keep
start
us
the
all
elementary
looking at
schools
it.
closer to the same time.
One of the things that caught my eye on this list, actually, if you look at option 4, that does have, except for the high school to the early elementary, there are 25-minute increments. Oh, no, I take that back. 25 between the two elementaries and only 20 for the middle, late elementary to middle.
I do have a request, David. Up on the box with the superintendent and the North Reading department phone number, can we put our website in there?
Sure.
I also have one other question on the calendar. I know that we don't want the kids returning to school on Friday, January 2nd, which isn't a holiday, but is this, with Christmas occurring on a Thursday, does this end up being the longest winter
I
break
think
they
that's
have?
No, we did talk about the possibility of closing down on the 19th of December.
Yeah, because they only have 2 days.
You have 2 days, Monday and Tuesday, the 22nd and 23rd.
Right.
It clearly does not make sense to reopen the buildings
On
on
the
the
2nd,
2nd.
right.
So, I think the feeling is that, you know, at the high school, there are a lot of activities that are going on.
Those 2 days, so it does
The
make sense to open
elementary
for those 2 days,
school.
yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Mommy needs time to get her shopping.
Exactly.
I
done
want to
before
make
the kids
sure,
come home.
on the form that you have, if you look in December, it says elementary evening conferences. It should say the 3rd versus the 2nd.
Okay. Yeah, it
That's
would make a
fine.
whole lot of sense.
I think may have given another one out to you.
The one you gave out at the table says 3rd.
Okay.
And you noted
That's why I
the
was
new
correct.
makeup of the committee.
See that?
You didn't see that?
No.
Okay,
And the
I got a
designated
question.
position?
I didn't see that at all. I had a
Oh, we
good
thought
question
you were
on
being
that.
dramatic there.
You assume.
Yeah, I know, exactly.
That's not my,
I had a question, in between the December and the March, with the early release, oh, all right, never mind, that's in there as well. I was looking at the old calendar, because there was only 2 early release days for the December and 3 for the March one in the original. But it's marked as early release on the
Right.
draft we got tonight.
Right.
we are staying with Good Friday. As the school will be closed on Good Friday.
Because it's too difficult to get staffing, full staffing for
Because
the
it's
day.
difficult to get a full staff.
And so Winchester, I think, went through this year, they've returned to giving Good Friday off next year because they had about 50% attendance and they had parents serving as substitutes for that day because they couldn't find
Wow.
enough substitute teachers. So,
We need
We need a vote on
motion to
this?
approve?
Yes.
Motion to approve the calendar.
Motion by Ms. Vaca, seconded by Mr. Derby for approval of the draft school calendar for 2008-2009. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Okay, next we have second reading of our policy number, or letter, ECA-D, use of security cameras on school property. I'll point out that Dr. Troughton passed out an updated version tonight to the committee, which has 2 edits, 1 deletion of a sentence and an addition of 2 words, and these were recommended by our council, is that correct? Okay, so I will read this. This is policy ECA-D, use of security cameras on school property. The school committee recognizes its responsibility to promote school safety and foster a safe and effective learning environment for students and staff, as well as that of the general public who have occasion to use school facilities. In an effort to promote safe and secure school facilities, the school committee supports the use of security cameras in its schools or on school grounds as part of an overall security plan. Security cameras will only be utilized in public areas within the schools and on school property where there is no reasonable expectation of privacy. Use of video-only security cameras will be restricted to major exterior entrances and exits, large gathering spaces including corridors, cafeteria, lobbies, and libraries, and school parking lots. No security devices will be placed in classrooms, locker rooms, restrooms, staff dining areas, or private offices. Audio recording shall not be utilized by the school district. To further the school committee's objective, the school district safety and security committee shall meet as appropriate to review the school safety and security plan and to develop, implement, and review district and school level safety practices. The school safety and security committee shall also make recommendations to the superintendent regarding the implementation and use of security cameras and other security measures as authorized by the school committee. A video recording used for security purposes in school buildings and/or on school property shall be the sole property of the North Reading Public Schools. All video recordings will be stored in their original format and secured to avoid tampering and to ensure confidentiality in accordance with applicable laws and regulations. Access to video recording shall only be made by authorized school personnel and law enforcement officials. Under no circumstances will the district's video recording be duplicated, transmitted, and/or removed from the district's premises unless in accordance with a court order and/or subpoena. Appropriate signage will be posted at entrances to the school campus and/or at major entrances into school buildings notifying students, staff, and the general public of the district's use of security cameras. Students and staff will receive additional written notification as appropriate regarding the use of security cameras in the school and/or school grounds. Such notification may include, but is not limited to, publication in student parent handbooks and employee handbooks. Any questions?
Move to approve as written.
Second reading.
Once.
Motion by Mrs. Davis to approve, second by Mr. Derby. Any questions? Dr. Crowe?
I just have one, actually this will be an amendment. It's in the first paragraph, in the second to last sentence. The current sentence reads, no security devices will be placed in classrooms. It should read, no
Cameras.
security cameras,
Right.
because there are security devices.
Right, on the doors?
Yes.
Right. So that should say cameras. Okay.
Move to
So-
approve as amended.
Okay. We have a motion by Mrs. Vaca, seconded by Mrs. Davis, seconded by Mr. Derby. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. David, is the work going on that right now?
It's starting.
Okay.
We're also looking at a federal grant that would be a matching grant, and so, they've not released the RFP on that grant, but my understanding is that that money can only be used as a matching grant for money that's spent during the period of the grant, so I sort of wanna see how
See if we
that
can get that.
comes, but they've not, the federal government has not released the actual funding application, so I'm delaying and holding until I get more information on that.
Okay. Routine matters, bills and, bills and payrolls are done, I believe. Minutes.
Steve?
Nope. Move to
Nope, you didn't
table.
look at them
We-
or no, man?
We have the March 10th, 2008, this was, I believe, our open session and budget hearing at the middle school large group room. The only two things I found were on page 3, under 2.b.5 public comments. The fourth line in the first paragraph, it says Mass legislatures, it should just be legislature.
Page is this? This is the 10th?
Page 3, fourth line from the top. It says legislatures with an S, we don't need the S there. And then under that,
Second.
right, and then under that, same section, the next to last line, consensus is spelled, should be spelled with an S and not a C. Am I correct on that?
Yes.
Yes, I haven't found
Right here.
it, but
Right here.
correct in the spelling.
And that's all I have.
Move to approve with those changes.
Motion by Mrs. Vaca to approve,
Second.
second by Ms. Davis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Then we had 2 executive sessions. The first